Us at this time, stand to our feet and receive our leader, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Come on, let's give him some love. Let's welcome him to our city. Thank you. Let me first thank Reverend Hempfield for opening his doors and giving this chapter of National Action Network a hand and a home and a place of operation. Give him another hand. Many years ago, over 2 decades ago, when I first started coming to Los Angeles for activism, there was not a lot of folk that welcomed us here. You know, a lot of folk that like you now is now. Don't ever get caught up in new love. Remember those that loved you when nobody else loved you. You can always tell a mother has a baby, and she loves the baby even when the baby's diapers are soiled. Everybody else wants to hold the baby when it smells good and clean. So a lot of folk that cuddle me now didn't cuddle me then. But the person that always cuddled me, even if my diapers wasn't clean, is a man unlike any I've ever met. And that's our own Dr. Pastor Cecil Murray. Cecil Murray, who is the legendary pastor of First AME. And the reason I say he's a legendary pastor, he made fame legendary. And I'm so happy anytime I'm in his presence because he's always been the same and always encouraged. You know, you meet a lot of people who are giants, who the only thing that makes them giants is that they smash everybody around them to make themselves look taller. If you got to make everybody else bad to make yourself good, there's not that much goodness in you. But he always found the good in everyone and exalted them, and that's why he's so dearly loved. And I'm so happy that he is here with us tonight. And likewise, a historic figure. I was looking at the wall, and many people that are in history, but none has done what this scholar, thinker, sage, philosopher has done. And that is that he has given us the authentic holiday of our people. He is a thinker with no peer. And I've known him since I was a teenager studying in Guzasaba. I remember when I was a youth director of Operation Breadbasket, 13, and they would tell us that we had to deal with people in the other realms. There's always been different lanes in our community. You know, it's a lie that they tell that we just had one leader in the 60s. We always had different leaders in every era. We had in the 60s Dr. King, Malcolm X, Adam Clayton Powell, Thurgood Marshall, Roy Wilkins, all at the same time. And when we would have to study those that were trying to teach us our culture and our nationalism, I come out of Church of God in Christ, and they told us we had to read in Guza Saba. I thought we were speaking in tongues. But now everybody needs. Had we adopted more thoroughly the 7 principles of the Guza Saba, 500 people wouldn't have been killed by gunfire in Chicago last year. And people that did not understand the need are now saying it is a need. It has become something celebrated by mainstream America that he didn't even ask for. Some folk want to be accepted by folks that have accepted him, that he never asked for the acceptance. Wow. And the reason you know that is because when he goes, he's not changed one word, not one lick, not one inference. He is what he has always been, an authentic giant in our community, Dr. Malana Karanga. And all that have been announced and introduced, certainly on a personal side, I was so happy when I walked in. My nephew said, "Stella, this is James Brown's grandson." And he's out here studying filmmaking. He's going to be a filmmaker, and he's out here. And surprised me. His mother told me, Deanna, James Brown's daughter, told me he was out there, but I didn't know he was keeping up with things. I was so happy when I walked in to see him. He is, I've known him since he was born. And he's here with us tonight. I cannot tell you how proud I am and how excited I am about the leadership and the vision and the strength of the head of this chapter. Right. And that is Reverend K.W. Going back many years, I started working with Naji Ali. And Naji Ali is one of the hardest working, most sincere grassroots activists I've known. And, you know, as he developed and fight, warriors are not diplomats. The reason why he and I always understood each other is because both of us were warriors. You get diplomats to come after the war. You don't get diplomats to fight the war. So when people get upset with him or me, that's what we do. You need folk that'll get other folk upset. So you nice Negroes can come in and get everything worked out. But if nobody got anybody upset, nobody would invite you nice Negroes in the first place. Ain't nothing for you to calm down unless somebody get everybody up. I mean legally, officers. I'm not going over the line here. But Najee and I have been back to back and shoulder to shoulder a long time. And when he told me about this young brother, what impressed me is he had a hunger and a drive to serve. And there was nothing that we would not engage in. He was not there first and stayed last. And whether it was marching to stand up against violence or marching on a case of brutality, it didn't matter. So as the organization grew, Dr. Karanga and people in our community accepted, he came in level-headed. I've seen him at the top places in Beverly Hills. He handled the whole thing for us with Michael Jackson's funeral, just like he handled a rally in Compton. And that's the kind of balance and the kind of perceptive leadership that we need. And I'm very proud of him and expect even greater things for him. And as he puts his flag here, I wanted to be here for the opening because I'm very proud of my young brother, KW2. Also, we're honored to have our president, President Davis, who's been supportive every step, every time we come this way, and everything Reverend Tulis has done, he's been there with him, and I'm so happy. He's been a real friend from Trayvon Martin back to Rodney King. All right. And now he's been succeeded by a real giant in the pulpit. He's a good man. He had me preach for him and gave me all offers. You know, a lot of folks don't give you all offers. And we are going to look for greater things even from him, Reverend Thompson. Give him another hand. I'm accompanied by our National Field Director, Attorney Lamont Bland.
Bravo!
Let me say this. There is 3 little points I want to make. There's a misperception that because we now have a black president, that the struggle is over. No one worked harder, fought harder than we had to make Barack Obama president. But we understood that was part of a process. That was not the end of the road. So important. Freedom is a process, not an event. A lot of us act like you have one event and everything's over with. I remember 1994, Dr. Y.T. Walker, who chaired our board of National Action Network, who was Martin Luther King's executive director, he took a delegation of us to South Africa for the election. And I remember in South Africa, they don't put names on the ballot. You vote for the party. And when ANC won that night, and ANC, of course, elected Nelson Mandela president, the next day a lady went out in the suburbs of Johannesburg, rung the bell of a huge mansion, Reverend Thompson, had a big pool in the back, palatial estate. She rung the bell, the Afrikaner opened the door. She says, "I'll take this one." He said, "What do you mean?" She says, "I'll take this one." She said, "What do you mean?" She said, "We won the election, I want your house." Because in her mind, when the election means they can do whatever they want to do. Well, that's how some of y'all was when Obama won. Y'all thought all of a sudden everything was going to be all right. Some of y'all didn't take your gowns off from the inaugural ball for 2 years, and when y'all finally took it off, the Tea Party had won Congress and started turning everything back. I'll never forget when he won. They were all over TV that night. Well, we don't need civil rights folk like Sharpton no more. About 6 weeks later, he was calling me because they were treating him like they do the rest of us. It's a process. And even after his re-election, don't be confused. They give us a lease for 4 more years on the White House. They didn't give us the deed. In 4 years, the moving truck is coming. And him and Michelle and the girls have got to get out of there. So we've got to do what we can in these next 4 years. But we don't know what's coming after that. Today, we are still doubly unemployed. Unemployment number 7.9%, blacks is 13%. With a black president, today, we still have the highest incarceration rate. Today, we still do not have the businesses that are owned and operated in our own communities. Today, we still have challenges. As we look at the gun proliferation, all of these guns in our communities, yet we don't manufacture any guns because our children have been tricked that manhood comes by how many they can hurt rather than how many they can heal. When we were growing in the era of listening to James Brown and Aretha and the values of a Malana Karanga, we thought we were more than we were. Today, by listening to this nonsense, we think that we are less than we are. Our young women grew up as queens. Now they're being called openly hoes and beings. And will fight you if you tell them don't use the language. Can you imagine that the drive of young people today is the right to call themselves the nigger? You can't get him about his mad about nothing but telling them quit using the N-word. They get mad about that. They mad about police brutality. They ain't mad about profiling. But tell them don't use the N-word. They get mad. Right out here in LA, not just tell you one night, I debated one of the rappers 2 hours on one cable station on the N-word. I told him we all used it, but we should stop It cuts off our self-esteem, puts a ceiling on our ambition. He had Red Bird, nigga fit on me. Nigga, nigga, nigga. Everything I said, nigga, nigga, nigga. So after 2 hours, we couldn't come to no agreement. I went my way, he went his. About 4 or 5 weeks later, I picked up the USA Today. He'd been arrested. Got a little altercation, they busted. I read the story, kept going. About 2 days after that, they called me from headquarters in Harlem. He was on the phone. So I said, well, plug him through to my cell phone. They plugged him through. I said, how you doing? Man, I ain't doing too good. I said, yeah, I read you had a little problem. Yeah, man, I got busted. I said, yeah, what happened? Well, I had a little altercation, man. That's why I called you. I need your help. I said, you need my help? He said, I need your help. I said, well, what you need me to do? He said, they violated my civil rights. I told him, niggas ain't got no civil rights. Is how you will be treated and responded to. How you define yourself is how you confine yourself. We must change the definition. And Hollywood and Beverly Hills and out here has helped define or misdefine our people. And that's why we need to come together and challenge those that make billions of dollars off of the distortion of the mentality and values and spirit of our community. And you right here where we need to put the pressure on. Well, now we can't do nothing. Yes, we can. They held one press conference and ran them Django dolls out of the store. If you fight, you can back them up. That's right. But they convince you not to fight. It's bad to get whipped. It's worse to be a punk and not even fight. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to win every fight. I tell folks all the time, I'll fight wherever I think is right. And I told a guy not long ago, I said, I'm going to tell you something. If we get into this battle, it's going to be a battle. I'm not arrogant enough to tell you that I'm going to win every time. But they're going to have to wake you up in the dressing room to tell you won. It ain't going to be no knockout. You're going to know you've been in a fight. And we need to get to fighting again. For our interests, for our community, for our children. We have stopped fighting. The other thing is that we've got to stop this division. This lie that the fight is that we got to fight the Latinos and they got to fight us, this black and brown division. Let me tell you something. We were all the victims of an illicit trade, slave trade of wickedness. Those of us that study the Bible, wickedness in high places. Don't act like any of our forefathers made a reservation to come over here. And some ships went south and some went north. And you shouldn't be arguing like you decided which way the ship went to make you a slave. Some ended up in the Caribbean, some ended up in Puerto Rico, some in Mexico, some in the South. We cannot allow them to play us against each other. If we're together, we can solve each other's problems. If we're separate, we only help our mutual adversary. This crab in a barrel mentality. How do you stop crabs from crawling over each other? Is you don't stop with the biggest crab. If the crabs had enough sense to form a crab coalition and tear the lid off the barrel, there'd be enough room for all the crabs. The problem is that they're containing all of us. saying you're not like them. Exactly. You're African American. They just come across the border. Then tell them you're not like them. They're dumb Negro. And y'all going for it. Right. All right. We need to stand together and take over all that is in our way that is unfair and unjust. That's right. With principle coalition, not co-option, but coalition. And what Rev Tulis and some of the Latino leaders in Nigeria and others are doing is important, and is what Cecil Murray has been doing for years. We must have principle coalition. That's right. People call my radio show, well, I'm not going to work with nobody, but who's going to help me? Well, if that's the case, it ain't nobody going to work for us. Every Black Caucus member cannot win without Latino votes. That's just the fact. And Latinos can't win without us. Obama wouldn't be sitting in the White House if there were not people of all backgrounds that stood together. Now, if you are not insecure, you can work with folk that's different than you and make them respect you as you and you respect them as them. Insecure people got to stay by themselves. You meet men that's so insecure they want to lock their wife up at home. If she that bad, you got to lock up, you might as well let her go. If I can't trust you to go out to the store, then I must know you ain't much anyway. If you're insecure about your blackness, you can only be around the blacks because you're afraid you're going to slip into being something else. But I can walk in any room in the world by myself, and I'm going to be as big and bold and black as I always was because I know who I am before I go in there. So my second point is we must engage in these principle coalitions and do it on mutual respect. That's the key. Lastly, we must return to values. Why have a National Action Network work with us? We must have the values and the faith that brought us this far. And that is why I'm here. That is why we're happy at this opening. Let me close by this, Reverend Hempfield. I was at the inauguration of the president 2.5 weeks ago. And as Providence would have it, the president was inaugurated on Martin Luther King holiday. And he invited 3 of us, head of the Urban League, head of the NAACP, and me to sit on the actual platform behind the curtains for the ceremony, next to Martin Luther King III. And I sat there and I thought about how it was a day of unlikely things. The holiday was unlikely. I remember when they swore they would never give a holiday to Martin Luther King. Ronald Reagan and others called him a communist. That's right. And Ronald Reagan ended up having to sign the bill to make it a federal holiday. I believe in the rightness of our cause because I've seen too many victories to allow defeats to get me down. That's right. I told Martin III, I said, Martin, your father won. I said, now that may sound strange to say he won. Never saw his 40th birthday. Left a beautiful widow and 4 children. Never saw who they married. Never saw if they went to college. Laid down on a cold balcony in Memphis, Tennessee and died. But the reason I say won, I said, Martin, do you remember your mother used to show us them pictures of them dragging Dr. King up the steps at the courthouse in Montgomery, Alabama, handcuffed? He said, yes, I remember. I said, do you realize the second Monday in January every year, that courthouse is closed? Judge can't come to work. Bailiff can't come to work. Clerk got to stay home. Who would have ever thought in the Deep South, every federal building has to close for a black preacher that never was elected to office. The whole federal government closed down. As I sat there and watched as they prepared to inaugurate the president, the day before in the private service, he was inaugurated with his hand on Lincoln's Bible. In the public service, he had his hand on Dr. King's Bible. Somebody said to me, Molly, well, this is beautiful. Dr. King's Bible and Lincoln's Bible, first black president. I say, yeah, but don't get confused. They're both the same Bible. They both got the same thing in them. Same amount of books, same amount of chapters. But they took much different roads to get here. Lincoln's Bible was on the mantelpiece in the White House. Heads of states went to see Lincoln's Bible. Dr. King's Bible didn't come that way. Dr. King's Bible had been through the backwoods of Mississippi. Dr. King's Bible had been through the poor areas of Georgia. Dr. King's Bible had been checked in the jailhouse in Birmingham. If you look close to Dr. King's Bible, they got his cell number on the Bible. And they checked the Bible in the property when he was put in jail for fighting for voting rights. But the bailiff never mentioned that Bible would be held in the Capitol. And a black man would put his hand on that Bible and become the president of the United States. If you be faithful over a few things, God will make you rule over many. Stand up and keep fighting. We'll win in the end. Thank you.